Within Orxon lies a mystery. We're closer now than ever. I think it's inevitable.
Wake up, honey. It's 2025. 4 years ago, my dear friend Ricky made a video called Ratchet and Clank's Unsolved Mystery. It outlined Pokitaru Skip, a skip that speedrunners had dreamed of for as long as Ratchet and Clank speedrunning existed. At the time, the skip was just barely impossible. Between the release of his video and now, though, quite a lot has changed in Ratchet speedrunning. Not only has Poki Skip been solved, it's also outright faster than any other existing strategy for Ratchet 1's mid-game. Today I'll be going over the final discoveries that made Poki Skip possible, as well as why Poki Skip will make the future of Ratchet 1 speedrunning more insane than ever. This is how Ratchet and Clank's unsolved mystery was solved. Since it's been a while, I'd like to reacquaint you all with planet Orxon. On first visit, this planet's poisonous atmosphere prevents Ratchet from leaving the ship, so Clank goes it alone. Completing Clank's annoyingly long journey through Orxon rewards you with the coordinates for planet Pokitaru. After landing on Poki, you meet up with the guy.
Hey!
You escort the guy to the end of the planet and you do a fighter jet mission using the pilot's helmet you picked up on planet Gaspar. As a reward, the guy gives you the O2 mask and Ratchet can now safely return to Orxon where a new path on the planet unlocks. Now, Ratchet has one task: chase down this infobot. The infobot hops between 7 different locations and it's Ratchet's job to go to each of these spots. After chasing down the infobot all over the planet, he reaches the final location and snags the coordinates to planet Hoven. The thesis behind Poki Skip is simple. What if you could do the Ratchet section as Clank? This would skip planets Gaspar and Pokitaru entirely, as well as the Clank section on Orxon. The problem is that this is theoretically impossible with Clank's lack of athleticism. But of course, Clank's 4-inch vertical would not deter speedrunners. Over the next 7 years, new discoveries pushed the limits of Orxon. First, there were proxies. Then, runners found that using in-level movies in the goodies menu could help Clank gain more height and overcome his recessive genes. Finally, spinning around in a circle on this moving platform could launch Clank insane horizontal distances. Of the 7 infobot locations, 6 were reachable as Clank, but no matter how hard runners looked, position 2 proved to be too much. In the coming years, not many people had an active interest in searching for a way to get to position 2. The last bastion of hope would fall on the shoulders of 3 runners: Pentali, Izaki, and Kank. The 3 would go on to test nearly every possible idea, with some being more promising than others. In particular, Pentali found a spot here, not far from position 2. High above Clank is an invisible ledge that could take Pentali to salvation. After getting up on this ledge, it wouldn't take much more to go all the way to the infobot. However, after a full year of trying to make this proxy work, the closest Pentali would get to this ledge was 0.047 units away. Tragic. And now everyone, we're gonna talk about cameras. This camera, to be precise. Trust me, we're going somewhere with this. The camera that looks at Ratchet, the one that you control with the right analog stick, is not just a part of the background. It's a physical actor with an actual hitbox. And speedrunners have known this for basically as long as we've been running the games. For like 20 years, this was kinda just useless knowledge. But since the camera has a hitbox, it also has collision. Speedrunners also knew this because it wasn't uncommon to accidentally bonk into the camera mid-run. What runners didn't know, though, is how important camera collision would be. In November of 2020, a runner named Elcon would change the entire landscape of Ratchet speedrunning with a 5-second video. what if it's a camera clip? By storing momentum and sliding towards a wall, you can clip through walls by simply zooming the camera into Ratchet at just the right moment. While Elcon's camera clip was done in Ratchet 3, runners started hunting for any camera clips they could find in all 3 original trilogy Ratchet games. And it wouldn't take long before this concept was usable as Clank. You've got to angle the camera so that by releasing L1 and pressing it again, it goes straight into Clank. At the same time, you have to press a specific direction and punch. On Orxon, this could be used in many spots to make getting to infobot locations safer, faster, and easier. Not long after the discovery of camera clips, Kenk and Pentali discovered that the camera could be used in a similar way to get proxy launches. This is done by shoving the camera into Ratchet mid-throwing animation or Clank mid-punching animation. It's important to note that these can only be done when their backs are against a wall. With these new discoveries, Pentali and Kenk worked tirelessly in the shadows, without anyone else in the community knowing. This would lead to one of the greatest surprises in Ratchet and Clank history. On November 20th, 2023, exactly 3 years to the day that Ricky released the original video on Poki Skip, Pentali started a stream simply titled Full Poki Skip. Everyone in the community showed up in disbelief, wondering how Pentali would possibly solve the unsolvable position 2. Once Pentali moves the infobot to position 2, he backtracks Clank all the way to the start of the level. After doing a proxy up to the Pokitaru infobot, he walks until he reaches this pathway blocked by iron bars. With a half-circle motion, Pentali lines the camera up and seamlessly camera clips Clank through. Pentali then grabs a Gadgetbot and places it gingerly near a corner, which allows him to launch Clank with the camera proxy. By opening up an in-level movie mid-punch, he gains even more height, allowing him to glide deep into the level. After scaling this tree, he proxies off this rock wall, giving him just enough height to glide to the opposite pillar. And now the trickiest spot in the sequence. After camera clipping into the top of the pillar, Pentali does a big Clank jump. He has to time a punch and play an in-level movie at the exact moment Clank hits the slope of the pillar. This strategy is brutal, taking Pentali nearly 10 minutes of attempts with save states just to hit once. But the reward for his efforts was becoming the first person to ever reach position 2 as Clank, and subsequently proving to the world that Poki Skip was actually possible. At a laboring 33 minutes, this isn't exactly what the kids would call faster than doing things normally. It would take 2 entirely new innovations with the camera to speed things up a bit. The first of these discoveries was called camera flips. By positioning the camera against a wall, you can bring the camera down into Clank. From there, you jump into the camera and spam punch, launching Clank way up in the air. Funnily enough, Kenk showcases this by effortlessly scaling the invisible ledge Pentali spent an entire year trying and failing to hit. The second of these discoveries was ledge proxies, and these were essentially camera flips but in reverse. Rather than put the camera above Clank to get a proxy, you can put Clank near a ledge and shove the camera into him from below. This also resulted in massive proxy height. These 2 discoveries helped speed things up tremendously, to the point where Poki Skip is actually optimal. It's not even just a theoretical skip anymore, with finish runner Atapi being the first person to ever pull it off in a New Game Plus run. But if you ask me, this is not the holy grail of Ratchet and Clank skips, at least not without one more arbitrary restriction. You see, this entire trick is dependent on being able to use in-level movies to gain additional height. These in-level movies are only accessible through the goodies menu, which you unlock after beating the game and entering challenge mode. In other words, Poki Skip would only be possible in New Game Plus. But what would Poki Skip look like if it were possible in any percent? Thankfully, with all the Clank technology that exists, we can take a thorough look at this. Here at the start, we clip into the tree and proxy up to the Pokitaru infobot, same as normal. From here, we camera proxy over the railing and glide down to the main area below. Once past these stupid birds and these sinking platforms, the first challenge awaits. To get to position 1, we place Clank about here and do an awkward camera flip to launch Clank high into the air to traverse the gap. With the infobot at position 2, the real fun can begin. We need to backtrack a bit, so we do one camera flip here to get back over the gap and another camera flip single jump to pop Clank up from below. From here, we need to do another awkward camera flip to get Clank on top of this texture. It's not immediately obvious why you need to do this, so I'll let past me look like an idiot for a second. Why is it necessary to do this? Is it just a checkpoint skip? Is that what the idea is? Try without the proxy? You'll see. Okay, so then I go over here. I go around. Oh, it spawns the ship. You know what? That was good, Pentally. You got me. With the murder ship skipped, we do a camera flip here to get onto this pipe, and then a deceptively tricky ledge proxy to get on top of the building. We can traverse the rooftops with more camera flips, with this third one being especially brutal, since you need to get high enough to reach these rocks. The camera flip off these rocks is deceptively tricky, since the textures rarely load properly and it's easy to clip out of bounds directly to your death. Back to position 1. If you can hit it though, you're rewarded with the proxy high enough to take you all the way to the previously impossible position 2. Now at position 2, there's a camera proxy, into a camera flip, into a weird camera flip all the way up to this pipe that scrapes the heavens. Once you walk across the pipe, you can glide down and walk to positions 3, 4, 5, and 6. While walking to position 6, you can just wait out the missile fire from the ship, but don't forget, the camera is a physical actor. So it's a lot more swag to put it in front of Clank so it can block the missile fire. Once at position 6, you're almost home free. This ledge proxy isn't too bad, but this next camera flip is the hardest part of the entire sequence. Using a precise lineup, you place Clank in just the right spot. Then you jump down, and as you land, you jam the camera to the right and press square. You have to maneuver the camera so it doesn't bonk Clank's head, and then you glide until you grab the pipe. From here, there's one last very chokeable ledge proxy, and you reach the infobot. This is absurdly difficult, and there's no guarantee it even saves time. However, I believe any percent Poki Skip is the future. After all, at the time of recording this, I'm the only person who's ever done it all in one go. It took me 4 hours to get it, and the full video is linked in the description if you want to watch it. Now that I've got the roadmap for this trick down, I want to help get it faster. Yes! 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 It's over! It's over! It's over! It's over! Yes! Fuck yeah, baby! Oh my god! Any percent Poki Skip. Done! So that's where things are now. It's been a hell of a last few years for this planet, and I'm sure the story's not finished yet. But due to the hard work of a few runners, Poki Skip is solved and faster than we ever believed. A special thank you to Ricky for giving me the blessing to make a sequel to his video, as well as for providing the voiceover at the beginning. Thank you to Pentally and Kank for all your help organizing Poki Skip's timeline and for proofreading my script. Thank you to my patrons for your continued support. Subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed this, And here's something cursed on the way out. Prefer if you just called me Zem. The only people who can call me by my... What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?